Because I mean, you guys already have a ton to deal with, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And learning how to read probably shouldn't be one of those things that you guys also have to pile on top of all the other things that you have to do. Obviously, officer safety needs to remain number one, right?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And citizen safety is always going to have to come second, just because, like, if officers aren't safe, how can they help us, right? How can they keep
Yeah,
us safe, right?
true, for sure.
So the question is, we're trying to do a graph here and figure out. Obviously, some of us are going to have to die for officer safety, right?
Any deaths in our community that we can prevent, we certainly want to do so.
Right. Absolutely. And obviously, you can't prevent deaths if you're dead. Am I right?
Sure, sure.
Right. And so obviously an officer's life is more worth more than an average citizen. We're trying to do a graph here and figure out exactly how many citizens' lives would equal one police officer's life. Good. How you doing?
Good. I got dispatch asked me to give you a call. Said that you want to talk to a sergeant.
Yeah. What was your name again?
Steerman.
Sergeant Sergeant
Yeah,
Steerman.
that's it. Yep.
How you doing this afternoon, man?
I'm good, sir.
Good. Well, I just see that you guys you get a lot of hate and criticism, and thought I'd be the one who would just call and say thank you.
Oh, I appreciate that, sir. I really do. It's been a rough week for us.
What's going on this week?
We just had some. I really can't tell you what I'm talking about specifically, but been getting a little bit of hate from the nation right now. So
Does it have something to do with that shooting a few days ago or something?
it it does, yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, I'll just say, look, not all of us hate you for that. Um, uh, I, Man, it's domestic violence call is one of the most dangerous calls you guys can show up on, right?
Yeah, it certainly is.
Yeah, I got a lot of buddies who work in law enforcement, and that's what they tell me all the time is there's nothing more dangerous you can show up to.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
uh,
and we really appreciate it. And anytime one of the public calls to thank us, it definitely boosts morale. So I'll definitely pass on your call to the guys because they really need that.
yeah, and if you could tell them too, like some of us are trying to think of solutions to try to help you guys out and stuff like this.
Sure.
Because I mean, you guys already have a ton to deal with, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And learning how to read probably shouldn't be one of those things that you guys also have to pile on top of all the other things that you have to do. Um, and so, uh, we've come up with a few different things. Obviously, officer safety needs to remain number one, right?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And citizen safety is always going to have to come second, just because, like, if officers aren't safe, how can they help us, right? How can they keep
Yeah,
us safe, right?
true, for sure.
So the question is, we're trying to do a graph here and figure out. Obviously, some of us are going to have to die for officer safety, right?
Well, it certainly wouldn't feel that that was the case, sir. No.
Okay, but I mean, and I don't mean to be judgmental or anything, but like
Mhm.
if we were to look at this from a real perspective, officers need to be safe in order to keep us safe. And there's a lot of non-officer citizens out there, millions of them, right? They're a dime a dozen. Where
Sure. Well, I wouldn't say there's a dime a dozen. I mean, ultimately, the only reason we're here is for the citizens of our community, and we want to prevent any deaths in our community that we can prevent. We certainly want to do so.
right, absolutely. And obviously, you can't prevent deaths if you're dead. Am I right?
Sure. Sure.
Right. And so obviously an officer's life is more worth more than an average citizen. We're trying to do a graph here and figure out exactly how many citizens' lives would equal one police officer's life.
All right, sir. Well, I appreciate your time. This is the conversation's kind of going in a direction that I can't comment on. If you'd like to talk to a PIO or somebody like that, I can organize that for you.
No. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I don't know what I might have said that might have been offensive. I don't mean to be offensive at all. I really don't. I'm a problem solver. I look for solutions to problems. And I know a lot of people sometimes don't like how insensitive I am. And I don't mean to
Well,
be insensitive. I just mean to be logical, right?
sure.
I
Well,
don't.
I hear what you're saying. Ultimately, I don't feel like one life is worth more than another, and I'll leave you with that. Okay.
All right. Can I ask you one question real quick?
Sure.
Do you think that Robert Dotson backed the blue before the blue killed him on April 6th? And do you
All
think
right.
he
Have a
backs
good
the
day,
blue
sir.
now? New Mexico State Police press release for immediate release. Farmington, New Mexico. On April 6, 2023, the New Mexico State Police Investigations Bureau was requested to investigate an officer-involved shooting involving Farmington Police Department. State police agents learned that on April 5, 2023, around 11:30 p.m., the Farmington Police Department received a call for a domestic violence incident occurring at 5308 Valley View Avenue. Officers with the Farmington Police Department responded to the area. Once on scene, officers mistakenly approached 5305 Valley View Avenue instead of 5308. Officers knocked on the door of 5305 and announced themselves as Farmington police officers. When there was no answer, officers asked dispatch to call the reporting party back and have them come to the door. Body camera footage shows as the officers backed away from 5305 Valley View Avenue, the homeowner, Robert Dotson, 52 years of age, opened the screen door armed with a handgun. At this point in the encounter, officers fired at least one round from their duty weapons, striking Mr. Dotson. After the initial shooting, Mr. Dotson's wife, also armed with a handgun, fired from the doorway of the residence. Once again, officers fired. Once she realized that the individuals outside the residence were police officers, she put the gun down and complied with the officer's commands. Mr. Dotson suffered fatal injuries as a result of the shooting and was pronounced deceased at the scene by the Office of the Medical Investigator. Mrs. Dotson, who was uninjured, has not been charged with a crime. The Farmington police officers involved were not injured and will not be identified by the New Mexico State Police. For information on their duty status or administrative actions taken, please contact the Farmington Police Department. For information on the outcome of the original domestic violence call at 5308 Valley View Avenue, please contact the Farmington Police Department. The New Mexico State Police Investigations Bureau works independently to determine the series of events that led up to the shooting, including collecting evidence and conducting interviews. Throughout the process, investigative findings will be shared with the appropriate district attorney for their review and consideration. New Mexico State Police act solely as fact finders in their cases and do not determine whether an officer's actions were justified in these types of matters. That decision rests with the district attorney's office. This incident remains under investigation by the New Mexico State Police.